done is when I laid out this wall, I simulated a window here. I wanted a very close piece here. I'm going to show you how to cut a notch for a window. A lot of times I see where what they'll normally do is run one piece up to the edge of the window, run another piece up to the other side, and then cut a piece underneath it and caulk it. In this case, I'm going to show you how we can cut the notch while it's hanging in the hanging nails, and it'll be a nice clean job. One thing to remember, on your overlap, if it's 1.25 inches, all your siding will be on exactly the same angle. It's sitting on that edge. If you have it up or down, it's going to slightly change the angle. So if you have a piece underneath here, say it's 3 or 4 inches, it'll be on the overlap, but there's nothing behind it supporting it. It'll actually be off of the plywood. Okay, now to go around a window, I have to measure this. I'm going to say I have maybe a 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, and I have 1.25 inch overlap, so maybe my piece under the window is only going to be 1.75 inches, but I'll have to check it and measure it. I'm going to put 2 hanging nails on each side of the window. What this is going to accomplish is the 2 hanging nails on each side will hold the weight of the siding on each side. That will eliminate any stress on my small piece. The small piece, I'm going to make a horizontal cut after I measure. I'll put it in here temporarily and make my marks for the side cuts to show you what I'm going to do. But then I'll take it out and make my horizontal cut. Now when I pick up that siding, it's not going to really affect the stress on the siding. It'll still be strong. I'll still be able to handle it. I'll be able to put it in the hangers. And then I will make my side cuts. Once I make the side cuts, I can put it right into position. Now what I'm going to do is use a longer nail. This way I can pull my hanging nails out on the nail, and the siding will actually be out past my trim. If this was a regular windowsill, top of a window, I'll be able to hang my siding out here and get it exactly where I want it, make my cut, make my side cuts, and slide it right back into position. Again, I put the swing gauge right on top of my previous piece. There's no gaps, no adjustment, it just fits right on there. And then I put my nail in. Then I just swing my swing gauge down. And that will be ready. Now what I'll do is I'll pull it out on this nail. Okay, now I've got it hanging in the hanging nails. You notice it's over the trim. What I want to do now is make sure that I have it against my corner post, because I want it to fit exactly when I'm done. Now I'll come over here and I'll make a pencil mark on each side here. Actually, you do this after the cut, but I'm showing you first how to do it, and then we'll do it again. I'm just showing you how we can position it to get exactly our cuts where we want them according to the trim. Now later when we go to make these cuts, it's going to be pretty close to the casings. You don't want to cut your trim if it's a new job, nice windows. Okay, so what you'll do is when you go to make these cuts, you just swing it a little bit. It'll pivot on the hanging nails. It gets it away from the casings. You don't have to worry about cutting the trim. You can go both ways with it. And once we're done, it'll go back into its original position. We'll already have our cut here, and we just slide it back into position. Don't have to worry about it breaking. I'm going to take this out for now, and I'm going to make my cut, and then I'll put it back in and show you what I mean. First of all, though, what I'm going to do, just a minute, let me take it out a minute. I'm going to measure. You have to remember, 1.25 inch overlap. It's exact every time. I want to fit it against my window, and I want to have just a little bit of a gap so that it'll go in easily and that it'll have something for the caulk to bite to. So what I'm going to do is measure from the bottom of my trim to the top of my previous piece. I've got 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch. If I add that to 1.25 inches, I have 1 5/8. So what I'll do is make my cut so I'll have an 1.5 inch piece on here. I'll have about 1/8 of an inch slop to work with. Okay, I'm going to cut this now and I'll be back. Okay, what I want to show you now, I made my horizontal cut here up to each side of where I think the window is going to be when we marked it with the pencil. I cut it on a table saw. I even put an extra cut in here to show you that it won't affect it. As long as it's a horizontal cut running with the panel, you don't really decrease the strength of the panel that much. If you make a vertical cut and just try to support it with this piece here, it's going to break on you. So what I'm going to do now is put it in hanging nails. I started my side cuts a little bit. I'm going to be using a jigsaw with a carbide blade. A little bit more difficult. You may not be able to afford shears. Jigsaw works fine. I'll put it in the hangers. Okay, I've got it supported. If you want, you can look through the cut here and see if you're accurate. It looks good. What I'm going to do now is take a jigsaw and cut the sides almost to the top. What you want to be careful of is you don't drop this piece. This method works very well on scaffolds or in hard to reach areas where a guy's having difficulty. He can go around the window. Just don't drop this piece. Normally, if you cut one side up almost to the top and leave it go, and then cut this side, you can snap it off and then trim it. So let's try cutting it, see what it does. Now, as you see, it just automatically goes in place. I'm going to push my hanging nails back on the nails where it needs adjusting, check my corner post, and then I can screw it down. Say we have a perfect fit around that window. As you see, it looks a lot neater. It looks finished. You can't cut the notch and try to put it in with this small of a piece. You might luck out, you might be able to do it. This is a much better method. You can use this method to go around the top of the window, around doors. If you have outlets you want to cut out, you can hang it the same way. Cut your square, see how it fits, pull it in and out, adjust it. Male chutes, there's numerous projections that you can use this method for. I'll secure it and get the hanging nails out. I wanted to show you, it is loose around here, just barely touches everywhere. Expansion and contraction, it's got room to move. Now with this cut, like I say, this is 1.5 inches, 1 5/8. I actually made it 1 9/16. I've got just enough room to put my fingernail in here. You can be that precise and not break it, not have a problem. Remember now, this piece here is just overlapped on this piece. It's tight. I can move it a little bit, but when you caulk your window, the caulk, once it dries, will actually lock this in here, prevent water from getting in. You don't have to ever worry about it. You can face nail it if you want, but why destroy the look of the siding? I'm using James Hardie.